here once again, and I'm dealing, I'm feeling the pain. So who takes the fall again? Come with me. Come with me. Was wrong. It creeps on back through color glass, through color glass. You paint a picture in my mind. You wanna leave it all behind. In a world that's turning all the time, nothing could stop me longing for your eyes. I won't let it die. I can feel you when you're not around. When the night gets cold, I won't be alone. We won't be
Happy Sunday, everybody. I suppose it's possible it's still Saturday or even Monday for some of you weirdos in different parts of the world. I take that back. I'm the weirdo. Y'all are probably normal. Anyway, probably just going to do a short little dirty stream. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm presently working on, the functionality I'm presently working on in Transient Tracker. I don't know if you notice this little web browser tab I have here. But it's essentially the API documentation for images, what we call an ROI, or region of interest. And the reason I need this information is essentially, I was down past all these getters. I got to get there. What I'm trying to do is find a tool for a region of interest that I can expand a region of interest, because presently, for those of you that have seen this project work, you'll notice that the images always get these little red dots all over them, right? Uh-oh, hold on, I'm getting some feedback on audio. Let's see what's going on here. The audio is low. My voice, or maybe the music down a bit and my voice up a bit will solve our problems. Because I got this mic all the way up in my grill. This mic is literally right here. Look, I can push it in a little further and you can see it. So that's about as close as I can get it to my face. I have the gain up to about 75%, so if I like squeal into light or something, it's going to make this obnoxious peaked out noise. And I can also hear myself. Man, the volume on my stream is all the way up and I can barely hear myself too. I'm not sure how to remedy that. Let me look into one other situation here. Let's look at our settings and see if we can find... Okay, so the output volume is maxed. Okay, let's tinker here. Set. Uh-oh. I just lost all my audio when I clicked that. Oh, that's because that's an output. I need output to my headphones. Input is what I need to be working on. Here we go. Maybe this. Let's bump this up a smidge. How we doing? We coming in any better? Audio check. Ooh, now I'm getting up into the red. Maybe that might have went too far on that deal. How's it sound now, friends? Cool, cool, cool. Looks like maybe we got something we can use. Let me catch up on chat and I'll answer any questions. Okay, good. Sounds like everybody is happy with the new volume. Sulfur, I'm not sure what it is you're. If that was a question, I don't know what UWU means, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have. If you're new here, I'm BigJay. I'm a software engineer for the Astronomical Society of the Pacific. I'm currently working on this project called Transient Tracker for CosmoQuest, which is a let's see, it's a project that the Astronomical Society of the Pacific works on, and I work under the supervision of Dr. Pamela Gay on that. She insists we call her Pamela. Do not shorten it to Pam. That's first of all bad manners, and second of all it irritates her, and we don't like irritating her because she is a fine lady and she deserves to be called by her full name. Anyway, oh, it's a smiley face. Yes, programming. We're going to be working on some programming. I was just kind of getting into the... Peter, I don't have access to the Nightbot or any of the other bots. So I'm not entirely sure how that works. I should probably get access to that, but it's just always something I forget about. I don't stream much. I typically only cover when, like, Pamela, or in today's case, Annie, needs the day off. This is Annie's time slot, but she had a birthday party, and I just jumped in to try to help her out. So, yeah, I think Nancy could, if she was here, could probably straighten that out, but I don't have the credentials to get that logged in and pointed here. And it usually only works during the week when I follow immediately, you know, Pamela's office hours. Anyway, I think we can work with this. I don't need a command to tell you about me. I'll tell you about me myself. Like I say, I'm finishing up my degree in computer science and working on this Transient Tracker project, which... let me post you a link to the GitHub real quick. And let's see Yeah. Here's the public release. This does not have the code that I'm currently working on, but it has all the first alpha, and you can download that. There's directions right there in the README on how to install ImageJ and how to get that plugin to work. And you can work right along beside me with these images that I'm working on. But anyway, let's get back to what I was discussing before the audio issues. I have a browser tab of the ImageJ API for the region of interest class because, well, let me just show you. Instead of talking about it, I'm just going to show you. When you run my code, you run it on a telescope image, and we'll use the M13 cluster. It's a popular cluster, one that most people that watch any. Oh, what happened? I hate how this puts that on the other screen instead of dropping it on the screen that I run it from. But anyway, you see here the M13 cluster. We're going to tell it that we want any object that's more than 6 standard deviations lighter than the background to go ahead and capture that as an object that we want to look at. And after we give this a couple of seconds, we're going to get a little output here. And then, as I mentioned earlier, this is going to pop up with a bunch of little red dots on it. And what those red dots are regions of interest, which are what we're looking for here. The regions of interest. But the region of interest is a single pixel right now, and that is the center pixel, the brightest pixel in each object. And what I'm looking to do today is down here, this is just the text output of coordinates of all these 4,387 objects that were located in that image. Man, I'm really struggling to keep things on the screen for it here. Now, let's see if I can get this guy to zoom. And it jumped over to the other monitor again. Quit it. Alright, let's zoom in on some of these smaller objects. Okay, so you can see here. This is a nice little cluster here, I think. You can see here that these little 1 pixel regions of interest are the brightest, the most intense pixel in each of these objects, okay? And as you can see, some of these little bitty faint objects right here aren't even being picked up. Now, if I drop that standard deviation from 6 to 4, there's a possibility it might pick up these two guys, but maybe this one, maybe this one. But for now, it's not quite 6 standard deviations brighter than the rest of this background for it to capture an image. So next, what we want to do, now that we have these center region, these region of interests selected around the center, we want to expand that region of interest to include these full width half maxes. Okay, so it's saying that the average full width half max is about 17 pixels. So I want to expand these regions of interest to include 17 pixels. Now, since that's an odd number, I can go 8 in either direction and still leave that center in the center. If this were even, I'd have to do some weird math and offset. I'd have to scan to see which side, which direction for the X. Okay, how do I explain this? On the X plane, if we have to offset, we want to offset toward this brighter side of the center, right? So in the example of this object, if I'm checking, if this were a 4 full width half max instead of a 17, I would have to choose to only either have 1 pixel to the left and 2 to the right, and same on the y-axis, 1 on the bottom and 2 on the top, or vice versa. And in order to do that, I want to capture the brighter part of the image. So I want the 1 pixel side to be the fainter side and the 2 pixel side to be the brighter side. So we're catching what's called a larger count. We're going to get a larger sum of the pixels inside of that region of interest. So I haven't looked at chat for a few minutes, so I'm going to do that. And I've been illustrating on an image that wasn't even on this screen, so I apologize. Some of that probably made 0 sense. Let's catch up on chat and see what happened. while I was yammering and not paying attention. Let's see here. The bot, Guido asks if the bot's running all the time. No, I think you have to actually fire up Nightbot's website and log into it. Pretty sure. Now, if you're talking about Autobot, yes, Autobot should be working all the time, but Nightbot is something that has to be logged into. And if it's not logged in, that those commands won't work. But it looks like it is. So I don't know, maybe one of the mods did that. Peter, tell us what Git means, brother, because I have no idea. And remind me where you guys are again. You're in, I know you're in Europe somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe England? Melanol, thanks for coming to hang out with us. Okay. Let's see. Something Automod screwed my chat up, so I've got to scroll back. Wait, a great cluster. Melanol, am I pronouncing that right? Thanks for coming and hanging out with us today. We're talking a little bit about the photometry project, which will eventually be an astrometry project as well. But for now, we're working on photometry. Our ultimate goal is to get magnitudes on stars. Okay. Git is a derivative of bigots. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, but GitHub is an American. Yeah, I guess Linus is actually English. Anyway. Alright, looks like I'm all caught up, so I'll get back to what we were doing now. I lost my my tab, my web page tab. Where you at, bro? Where you at, bro? I don't need that anymore. Where did my region of interest page go? I have a second, there it is. I have a second monitor that I do all my, I don't want this stuff to show up on stream stuff on. And it has 5 windows open on a little 21-inch monitor right now. And 4 of them are kind of tucked in corners, but this one that I needed was behind all of them. So anyway, next, I guess I could have Alt-Tab to, no, see, that doesn't even give me a Firefox option. How is that useful? Oh well. Anyway, now what I need to do is find a region of interest method here that I can expand those region of interests around that central pixel by this full width half max. That's currently what I'm hoping to get done today while I'm hanging out with you guys. Let's see. Yeah, no, I think this is a safe place to educate people with somewhat offensive words, but I think most of us actually probably use those words in most daily communication. So I haven't noticed any like children here. It's not that we don't allow them, but I haven't seen any. I think we're all right. Anyway, let's find a method that will help us. Okay, so I was just getting past the getters. Grow. Oh snap! Is it the first one after the getters? Grow. X and Y. I need more information. What does this mean? Here we go. Okay, there's nudge corner, update clip rectangle, handle mouse drag. This is not helpful. Protected void grow, SX and SY. Grow. Let's look further. Let's see what else we find here. Um, Catching up on chat. Looks like you're chatting mostly amongst yourselves. Yeah, we all adults here. We trying to educate adults. Now, with that said, education is a huge part of what we do. Citizen scientists are not uneducated people. There are people who we slowly educate, right? So they show an interest in what we do, and then we give them the tools to learn how to help us sift through data. Okay, the data dumps, NASA just, oh gosh, what was it, about 3 years ago? They made just this huge dump of data available to the public, and then we got involved. They paid us a grant to build a citizen science project to help, train people of all disciplines to come help us, sort through it. Tests just went up. That thing's grabbing something like 40 terabytes of data a day or some ridiculous something. I probably should test data dumps. Let's see if I can find that. I went to a press conference in January where they talked about this. They were talking about each day it would do a data dump, and I'm pretty sure it was somewhere around 30 terabytes a day. That's crazy. So needless to say, we're gonna need some help to sift through that. NASA needs help, and EAS needs help, and all the people involved in this project. But I'm not seeing something easily. Let's just go with an obscene amount of data. We'll just call it obscene instead of using a specific. I'm gonna scan this very quickly. Very interesting article that I'm looking at right now that's got some really awesome information on the scope. Let's see. Some of these guys would probably beat me to it while I was looking. Well, let's talk about that. So the Large Hadron Collider is pulling 40 terabytes a day of data from their experiments. And how long ago how long's the LHC been running? The God particle was discovered, or the Higgs boson, I think is what it's 2012. So what, we're 6 years since that, and it was built before that, so it's probably going on 10 years old, right? Well, the tests just went up 2 months ago, so I'd say it's data processing. Oh yeah, no way. The energy consumption is astronomical. You're right. They couldn't run 24/7, but anyway, it's a lot of data, and we got to sift through it. So we're trying to build tools that will make that simple for teachers, for high school students, for administrative assistants, non-scientists, technologists, engineers, and mathematicians, people that don't have degrees to do what we do. Tests won't be, it's gathering data damn near 24/7, but my understanding is that it can only do data dumps at specific positions of its orbit, and I think it just kind of hangs over poles for Jesus. Let's see. I'm struggling to recall details. I'm pretty sure it does daily dumps, but it waits on a specific time of day. Oh, it stays in each sector for 27 days. This is crazy. Yeah, I can't quickly find. Here it is. Science data flow. Tess will deliver the data it collects over the course of a 13-day observation arc as part of a single K-bound downlink performed passing the perigee and slewing away from its observation sector. This data dump includes nearly 10,000 postage stamps for every target star, plus over 600 full-frame images of the entire observation sector. Let's see if we can. There's still no data size information here. Yeah, I don't. Anyway, it's time to move on. I'd like to get some code going here. I think some people here would like to see that. Okay, moving on. Okay, so grow was an interesting method. So I'm going to make note of that. Grow. There's not enough information here to help me decide if it's what I need, but I'm going to continue scanning. His drawing tool is handle design isn't good with iterator. Move handle, mouse, nudge corner. Those are based on arrow key presses. Screen, set color, set corner, diameter, set default fill color. Appreciated, set. I don't think it's, well, it might be a setter. Okay. Set position, set stack position. Okay. Set properties, set stroke. Really high. Oh no, update. I got a feeling that was it. This is not a very helpful piece of documentation. There is not a ton of there it is. Not a ton of information. Grow. SX and SY. Well, I have an idea. Let's run through my idea here and see what happens. I'm gonna run that grow on each region of interest in the image by 1/2 of the full width half max and see if it grows equally in each direction. Essentially, let's see what happens when we do that. Now, it's been long enough. What? Why isn't it finding a region of interest? I guess I'm gonna have to look for this manually here. Let's get rid of this. I don't need it right now. Okay. That's the file output. Okay, I think this is where. Can't even find where. Here we are. Went too far. So there's ROI right there. So why, when I searched for it? Oh, now I think it was searching on the terminal box instead of my code. Let's see if I missed anything in chat. I haven't. So moving on. Okay, so here is where, right here in this block of code, here is where, for each unidentified object in my unidentified objects array, we create a region of interest and we surround our center most intense pixel with it. So I think let's see, I gotta figure out, okay, so yeah, my full width half max are generated above here in the code inside, well, right here actually. So I can actually just, instead of selecting that center pixel, change this to an area around the center pixel. Okay, so with that in mind, instead of using M13, which is a very dense star cluster, especially in the center there, pardon me. Y'all saw that the center of that star cluster looked like one big massive star, and we all know that was tens of thousands of stars in front of and behind one another. Maybe millions, who knows? I'm sure if Pamela was here, she would have that information. But she's enjoying a hard-earned day off, so let's hope she's not. Anyway, one of the other PhD astrophysicists that I have the pleasure of working with, Dr. Andreas Plazas, I think is his last name. He built a bunch of, what should we call them? Test star fields. And I'll show you what I mean here. Let's just fire one up and I'll show you what he did for us. Desktop, fits images, and then here in test, you can see a bunch of and I haven't even looked at these. This is the one I've been working on, which has 256 evenly spaced stars throughout an image. I haven't even looked at these other ones yet, which I just downloaded this morning as I was preparing for this stream. Let's look at these. Let's see what they, oh my. Oh my, that looks like a mess, doesn't it? That looks like a mess. Let's give it 6 standard deviations and see what it comes up with. And I gotta warn you, oh, it says number of objects found in the field 0. And of course we came back with null full width half max and a blank document here. So let's ease up on that. Let's drop that down to about 3 and see if we capture anything from that. Okay. Let's give it 3 standard deviations. Boom. Okay, see, we found stuff there. Of course, right now, okay, and right now it's generating all those fields of interest, and here's all the objects it found with the full width half max data. And then I'm about to use dirty words. Stop going to the other monitor, you annoying heckin' punk. Where are they? That's weird. Look at this. Isn't that such a strange... But if you look, these pixels are quite a bit brighter than the ones around it, right? I mean, the thing is these are 32-bit grayscale images. Essentially, I think is what this image is, DPI, is white noise. Let's check out the other ones and see if we can find something that looks a little more like a star cluster. Because, like I say, that one was 256 very evenly, very delightfully spaced. This was the original one that he built for us, and this is a very clear. And I didn't even move that other box over to the screen. I just hit OK on 6 standard deviations because I'm tired of dragging it around. But we don't need this, and of course, we can see that a very predictable 4-pixel full width half max object, and there are 256 objects. believe that's 16 by 16. And then, oh, well, this one's letting me zoom in without being full screen. But as you can see, it captured that brightest guy right in the center. Let's zoom in further on this so you can see. As you can see, this is wider than 4 pixels. But the full width, half max, kind of eliminates the outer, the dimmer outer half, essentially. Because I think this is, I'd say by a glance, this is probably the very edge. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9, yeah, about half of that is 4, right? So anyway, let's look at some of these other ones briefly and see if anything looks more like a naturally nicely spaced but not quite so evenly distributed star. Wow, what am I doing? Not documents. Desktop. Test. Look at this. Ah, here we are. Now, those are big beefy boys, right? Okay, yeah, see those, the full width half max there was 16. And as you can see here, it's roughly that on each axis, and then of course, and then there are 259 objects, which I find to be odd. I wonder what 3 it found. Ugh. Yeah, as you can see, there's a lot more like background noise in this image than that first one. There's, okay, so what I see, and you may not be able to see it through the stream, but what I see here is a bright point here, and then like light pollution kind of fading from this corner up towards that, because it looks like it's brighter, and then it gets a little darker, a little darker, a little darker. Could be coming from both corners, because I see kind of a natural arc from a round object polluting. Let's see here. Catching up with the chats. Looks like a dark frame. Yeah, they're supposed to be very controlled images that help us. You know, he also sent a couple of charts that I don't know how to read, but they're essentially what my algorithm should be giving us back at the end once we're determining magnitude. The chart that he sent said, okay, this image should return these full width half maxes and this magnitude, right? So once I can speak with him, probably Tuesday, I suspect he and I'll get together for a little bit. Tuesday we can make more sense. No, I think Peter, he intentionally puts that noise in there. It's intended to confuse the algorithm. He spent an entire day on like these 8 images, so they are exactly as they were intended to be. Let's see here. Document desktop. Let's look at the next one. Let's look at each. See how they look. Oh yeah, this one has lots more noise. This one's going to be harder to grab objects on. Let's leave it at 6 and see. Okay, so it's still grabbed a lot of objects and found 442 of them, and I have a feeling that that's not correct. So a lot of this noise back here is getting, probably single pixels getting picked up as individual objects. Oh, well, if what I'm seeing here is this one object is being picked up as 3. I think you can probably see that along with me now that we're zoomed in. So what I'm going to do to try to get around that is run it again with a smaller, instead of 6 standard deviations, we'll try to run it about 3 and see what happens. But after this one, I think I'm going to move on to try to grow those regions of interest and see how that works. But I want to see if this thing stops selecting 3 objects in one if I lower this number of standard deviations. It's definitely taken longer to analyze it, which is good. And we got half the full width half max of 6 instead of 12. Oh, but man, look at all these objects it's found. I think I made it worse. Yeah, and the objects found went way up too. So yeah, these things are designed to challenge the algorithm, and it's, as you can see, clearly doing that. But anyway, let's try to grow this thing by half the full width half max and see what that original image looks like. Let's see if we can get, and I'm going to show one more image so I can be clear on what it is that I'm working towards. Let's see if we can get this image. Oops. Instead of selecting the single pixel that is the brightest of the pixels, let's see if we can get, man, you annoying bastard. If we can get the brightest, instead of selecting the brightest pixels, if we can get it to select, you know, 2 pixels in either direction. Let's just try that. I'm not even going to try the complexity of finding out which side is brighter so we know which side to skew the even full width half max on. Let's just try to grow it to the full width half max, which is 4. Let's see if that's possible. So I think right here we're going to do a ROI.grow to 2. And why is it griping? Protected access. Oh no, this isn't going to work. Okay, so that's not going to work. We're going to have to do some work inside of here when we actually create the region of interest. And I've forgotten the signature of that, so I'm going to have to well, I'll tell you what I need. I need that page back, which I may have actually closed when it turned out to be of no use to me. Nope, there it is, right there. Why is that showing up as a Slack window? You see what's going on here? I have Slack highlighted as the app, and for some reason, my Firefox window is coming up under that. That's really weird. So anyway, let's look at these objects as a whole, and this is the class region of interest. Need a constructor. Here we are. Double X, double Y, double width, double height. Okay, so X and Y, I presume, is the center, and then the width and height will be half of the full width half max, right? Does that make sense? I think that makes sense, even to somebody that doesn't program, probably. Man, could you imagine? I just want to talk about like this reoccurring dream that I have of hanging out with Carl Sagan and just going someplace like Amsterdam where it's legal to do whatever the hell you want, and then just hanging out with Carl Sagan in a pub, doing whatever the hell we want, and talking about the universe, would that not be the dopest? People say if you could spend an hour with anyone in the entire world that's ever existed and ever will exist, who would it be? Carl Sagan, without a question, is my dude. Lucky. I want to go to Amsterdam. Pamela went not long ago, and I begged her to take me. She regaled a tale of once taking a student who got trashed and rented a bike and got in a wreck and hurt themselves, to which I replied I promised not to rent a bike. But she still didn't take me, so I guess I wasn't convincing enough. Okay, so we need an XY. Oh, there's the 0 zeros over there. So I'm going to take this back out. We're just going to modify these zeros to be, what do we get up here? Let's get rid of this and look at these full width half maxes. So it was XY with height. So okay, XY. So width is going to be where are they at? X full width half max. And this one will be Y full width half max average by 2. Alright, grills and boys, let's see what happens. Let's see if we surround that beast. Because if this works, that was a whole lot simpler than I had imagined it. I guess I forgot that when you create regions of interest, you could actually differentiate that. But let's see what happens. A moment of truth. Are you excited? I'm excited. Yeah, Peter, see, that's the reason that they make things illegal in the United States, because they let 3 little idiots ruin it for everybody instead of harshly punishing those 3 idiots who ruined it for everyone. I think that, there are certain things that we know are just absolutely horrible for you, like heroin, things like that. However, I think as a grown person, we should be required to understand the consequences of our actions. And if we take that action anyway, then suffer those consequences. So if you do heroin and then you go tear up an IKEA and trash a taxi, then you should probably spend long enough in jail working those damages off. Like, that's my opinion. You need to work those damages off. And the only real place to do that, and I think that if you go to jail, you should be paid a living wage to do it. But I don't believe in legalized slavery. I believe in paying your dues and paying your debts to society. But I think they got people in jails working for under $1 an hour, and it's slavery is what it is. And I'm not about that, but I think people should have to pay for the damage they do, and if they can't afford to pay it out of their savings account, well, then you gotta go. You done messed up, AA Ron. You got to pay for it. But too many people try to control large masses of people, and then we end up with a bunch of laws that only affect a very tiny percentage of people. Y'all got me off on something. I'm trying to get work done here. We're doing work. All right, here we go. I'm gonna let you watch it with me. We're gonna boom. Oh no. No. Well, actually, that is correct. No. The full width half max divided by 2 should be 2 pixels, not that many pixels. That is way too wide and way too high. And where the hell did the stars go? Oh, that's so weird. What happened here? Oh, I see what happened. I sort of see what happens. Look at this box right here. Let's zoom in on this. There we go. You see what happened? It went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right and 5 down from that. But up here it did strange things. It only just went down. It didn't. You see what I'm saying? We lost. This one went all the way down to this one. So something's weird, right? That didn't work as planned. Let's reevaluate what happens here. Let's bring that constructor back up here. Aha, I think this double with rectangular RIU using double arguments. A rounded rectangular RIU. And all you got to do is add a corner diameter. That's not going to help us. That's weird. I'm not sure why that flew off the handle. Well, let's just try. Since we know that full width half max should be 4. Well, we need 2's here, really, because it's 4 divided by 2, right? Let's just try hard coding the 2's and see what happens. See how that behaves. I like this music. Okay, I think that worked. See, that appears to have worked, right? Okay. Let's get close and see what happens. Yeah, but it did the same thing, right? So it made it 2 pixels wide and 2 pixels high from that starting pixel. So I need to change that starting pixel, and I need to manipulate it according to that full width half max too. Because obviously I can't start at the center and just go right and down. That's incorrect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take a little 5-minute break. I'm going to go grab me a tasty beverage, take a potty. I'm feeling good. I was thinking I was only going to go an hour, but we're having fun, and I'm already in an hour, and I think I can go at least another half when I get back. Just give me that 5 minutes, and we'll do some more. BRB. Alright guys, I didn't need the whole 5 minutes. I just needed long enough to get a drink. Take a potty break. I'm there. We're back. We're good. Okay, let's see here. See if I missed anything in chat while I was gone. Okay, looks like I didn't miss much. Let's move on. Now we've got to think smartly about this, and we can't place it directly on the center. We have to go half minus x full width half max average divided by 2.0. Why did I do -1? Why in the hell? Is this get height on an image processor, which should give me what is the resolution of these images? Is it 24 by 2400 or is it 2048? That's really weird. Oh, here it is. Oh, this was because when I first wrote this code, I was using top left center as the origin. Turns out astronomers don't like that very much. They like the bottom left corner is the origin because they like to think of a telescope image as the first quadrant of the Cartesian plane. So, you know, like we all did in high school geometry and beyond, quadrant 1, the origin is the bottom left corner, right? Well, in television and image processing, I guess they all love working with that fourth quadrant. And that's how I originally wrote it. So essentially what this does is it gets the height -1 because of off by 1 errors and arrays, and then subtracts the Y center from it. So we're going to have to do a minus Y full width half max average divided by 2. Oop, I'm messing. That T doesn't belong. And let's see, make sure everything's all good there. We can go ahead and line feed this here. All right, let's see what kind of wonders this magical code here produces. Will it automagically work? We'll find out momentarily. Automagics, automagics. Okay. That was an interesting. Now, see, now the red dots are way off. It's going too far, and it's only no, it is picking up. Okay, so that is the correct size box, but it should be around these pixels, and now they're offset too far. So I wonder what's going on here. What am I missing? We can pass at a Java rectangle. I don't want to do that though, because I gotta take my headset off my ears and let my fan here blowing on me cool them off. Oh, I have 3 fans blowing on me directly. And wearing pants for you people, I hope you appreciate this. Let's see here. Peter wants to know what operating system. I am running Linux Ubuntu 18.04 with the, I want to say, I can't remember if it's Cinnamon or, I think it's Cinnamon desktop environment. Let's see here. I got earbuds, Peter, but after you listen to sound through over-the-ear cans, earbuds, first of all, they hurt the inside of my ears, and second of all, the sound is garbage, and I no longer tolerate them. I'd rather have hot ears than garbage audio. Okay, so something's they're going further. Okay, so here's the full width half max averages. They're all right at 4, right? So these should be saying -2 essentially. So it should be the center -2 pixels. I'm so confused. Super confused. Oh, wait. No. That should only be moving that to the left 2. And if I minus, what is going on? Okay, let's just move it on the X-plane right now and see what happens. And for, okay. And I know that's going to spit that out a bunch. I just want to see what it's going to give me, though. Because I got a feeling something's getting wonky in here somewhere. And yeah, why in the hell is... See what's going on here? 518. Why it ain't right? So that's gonna 259 is gonna be half of that. Why is that happening? Oh, because those... So it's not actually saving them, it's just spitting them out here. The image full width half max is the only thing being saved at the end of the deal. Well, now we're getting places. Okay, let me check my chat, make sure nobody's making fun of me. Yeah, Peter, those storms, it's tornado or hurricane season, right? So those storms smack the east coast of the United States, and then they end up creating a bunch of like tornado-like weather here in the middle of the country. And it's been really bad this spring and summer. It's been the worst I've ever seen it in my life. And I've lived here most of it. I lived in Spartanburg, South Carolina for like 2 years, but the rest of it, I've lived right here in the Edwardsville region, and this year it's terrible. Okay, so here we need to do equals did it again, hit T instead of G. Not sure why my design choice was this when I did it. Clearly come back to bite me in the ass. And now hopefully this will, in fact, solve our problem. Okay. Minus we're going to hard code these one more time, just so I don't change too many things at once and then get confused when it doesn't work. Yeah, now they're all 2 point something. And or okay, so this is my 4x4 box, right? So the full width half max is 4 pixels. This is my 4x4 box. They're all favoring the upper left corner, which is incorrect because again, this light isn't precisely evenly distributed. And honestly, it looks like this corner is darker than this corner. So essentially, once we figure out this full width half max, we add what's called an annulus to it, which is usually a multiple of the full width half max. 1, 1.5, 2. So this would be a 4, 6, or 8 pixel annulus. It's not an error DPI. I knew that this would happen because when you have a center, if your width or height is even, you can't have a natural center, right? It's not possible. With a full width half max of 4, we can't. We have to favor a corner of this object. Of course, the mathematics to do that is to scan the pixels on each axis on either side, and if, for example, on the x-axis, if the pixel on the right is brighter than the pixel on the left, then we want it to favor that right side. We want the short side to be on the left because it's gonna count more light that way, right? Brighter light. And same on the y. If the pixel below is brighter than the pixel above, we want that bias to shift towards the brighter pixels. And that's how we can get a slightly more natural selection. Next, after this, and I don't think I'm going to get to it today because I do have to go get a haircut and my beard trimmed. I have to go to Aldi's. I need to put fuel in my car. And unfortunately, I need to have one of the CV joints replaced. It's starting to do a little bit of like a clicking, thumping thing when I drive it. I don't feel too bad driving at very short distances, but I have to get it fixed this coming week, and that's going to be a bummer. But anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I don't want to just bail on you. Any of you guys got cool Twitch streamers that we could all go over and say hello to before we call it a day? I, on my personal Twitch, had no one that I subscribe to currently. Bob Ross is what I was watching before the stream. Guido, my car is a 2006 VW Jetta TDI. It has 165,000 miles on it, and those CV joints are long overdue for being replaced. I got the car very inexpensively. It gets like between 40 and 50 miles to the gallon, depending on city or highway driving, whatever I'm doing on that tank. And it is a fantastically reliable, comfortable. I love that car. It's my favorite car I've ever owned, and I've owned dozens of cars in my life. And I fully intend to drive that thing until the wheels fall off, or I can afford a newer one, and I'll give that to one of my kids. Probably my oldest daughter, because she's in need of a car pretty bad. I don't know. She might graduate college and get a good job before I do at the rate I'm going. But yeah, almost new. But yeah, it's a delightful car, and I love it, and I don't mind spending maintenance. CV joints, they were $250 a piece. I got one replaced, knowing I should have got them both replaced, but I was kind of trying to spread it out across a couple paydays. And of course, that was an error on my part. Any ideas on who we could raid? Twitch.tv. Let's see who's whoa, no, mute. I don't want to hear all y'all nonsense. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Nick Saga isn't streaming. Music streamers, huh? Is Demon Machine live? Yeah, we definitely go hang out with him. He's a super cool dude. For some reason, we aren't following anyone on this account, so I can't see anything. But if I try to log into my other account, it logs me out of this one. So, is that a correct spelling, DPI, or have you confirmed? Because let's see here. That's giving me an invalid username. Let me searching. DAEMONMACH. Shit Talk Sunday. All right, guys, let's go say hello to Demon Machine. See what he's working on today. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll be back tomorrow. Dr. Pamela will be doing the Daily Space Show, and then we will see you then. Let me see. D-E-A. I did A-E. Let's go say hi. Yeah, you too, brother. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Guido. Alright. Man, this is the slowest countdown timer of all time.